Yeah, Angie Mahart here. He's somebody who's been with somebody with BPD, and whether it's over or the relationship is ended, but you're not sure it's over, share in the comments below if you would. If you want to share, think out loud, so to speak, or if you have some understanding that you could share with others. Why do you think it is that if this is the case for you, because it is for so many people, why do you think you still have so much hope about that person with BPD maybe someday coming back, understanding, apologizing? Maybe it could somehow work out. Like this hope, as many people refer to it still, who are a BPDX, it can be a more recent experience or breakup. It can be a longer term time, and people aren't getting into their own healing and recovery journeys, right? So I'm out here to work with you if I resonate with you, of course. But the thing is, so what? How do you conceptualize if this is true for you? Why you still have hope? If you're aware that you still have hope, if you're aware that you just can't let go, if you feel like you just, well, you feel and think and believe that you can't accept the breakup, that it can't be over, that it has to come back around, that you need to recycle it, that you need to get back together, that somehow it's just what's should happen. A lot of people are in this area, this territory emotionally, and so I just thought I would talk about it a little bit and ask these questions, and ask for people to comment and share their experience, because I think that so there's a large group of people who maybe it's a shorter time frame right now. Uh, Maybe the relationship you don't even know if it's over because it might be off right now. So there's all these different scenarios, but so many people are really in a place where they are aware they want the person with BPD back. In spite of everything that's happened, in spite of the pain they're in, they just want that person back. So there's that, and that people describe that as having hope, or sometimes they say I wish or if only, but a lot of people express it as hope. Is it false hope, or does it qualify, do you think? Is it really, and how you feel may certainly, you might say yes, it's hope, it's really hope, but is it more false hope? So there are people that are really aware of that. There are people that have recycled the relationship with the same BPD partner on and off and on and off many, many times. And they're still like, if they're in the off place right now, then there's a lot of people that are really, expecting it to pick up again, and they'll hear from this person again, or they'll be able to contact them and they'll get a response. And then there's another wide group of people who the relationship, is over. People start to maybe try to heal from that, maybe get into therapy, but then there's the rumination that continues, and it is much stronger for some than others. And the stronger the rumination and the more people are obsessed with the BPDX, the more that means you're not done. The more that means you really do want them back. So whether people always are aware of that or conscious of that, not necessarily in this other group, right? As opposed to the people that know I want that person back, and I have this hope and I can't let go and I can't go no contact. And by the way, when people say I can't, you're following your feelings, right? People with codependency, you're following your feelings. But when you say you can't, it's because you won't. And then what's at the bottom of that is about control, feeling out of control, feeling in control. And I think for a lot of people with codependency, all of this is about still avoiding self, wanting the BPD back, having the hope, or thinking that like I have clients that are working through BPD relationship breakups, and they really feel strongly that they know intellectually what the emotions are doing can be a whole different story. That they really know that, nah, that wasn't good for me. That I'm in so much pain now. That was really painful. I don't want that again in my life. And yet, often they will. be in a place of exploration when we're in a session, and they will say, but you know, if I got a Hoover today or tomorrow, I really don't know what I would do. So I guess this is the dilemma and the ongoing conundrum for people with codependency, especially more significantly to severity. This, I can't go no contact. I don't feel ready to go. I don't, which is really, I don't want to. I want the person back. No, I don't think I want them back. I get that it's over, but I can't stop thinking about them. And if they were to Hoover me, well, I don't know. So some of that can be the latter of what I just said. Some of that can be part of the process in healing and recovery. I've been working with clients for 31 years, and so I often see clients that as they're moving through the beginning of the healing, um, wondering about if they were hoovered again, would they go back, but not necessarily saying I know I would. Some say I might. Then there's a phase in early in recovery when I'm working with clients where a lot of people are worried about, but if he or she hoovered me, I'm not really sure what I do. I don't know. I would want to not reply to that, but I'm not sure. So, and that can be a moving through that phase of recovery, and many people will continue beyond that as I work with clients, and they won't get hoovered, or often there's stealth reverse hoover of social media going on for a lot of people, and then they're trying to stop doing that, or they're working toward that, or they have a goal they want to, but again they're struggling with that. And I wonder, like this can have some things to do with no closure, but it's not just the no closure. Because I think more importantly, what a lot of people with codependency need to look at and think about more is, yeah, is it over? Have you radically accepted that? Do you still have this hope or false hope? And what does it mean for you? And it's for people with codependency, it's largely, among other things, however you still feel or think and or feel about the BPDX, or the you're not sure if it's over, or you're in some off and on again recycling that's been going on in some people's cases for years. Then what people with codependency need to think more about, and why I say that one action step you need to take is get in therapy, is the fact that why are you still, because this is all still for people with codependency, what I've been talking about here. It's all still avoidance of self. It's all still putting self last, and the thoughts about the borderline, or the rumination, or the obsession, or the on and off nature, just waiting for the next contact. And there is a deficit for people with codependency after these relationships, and the BPD relationship triggers the codependency, because so the deficit is really just this codependent reality of, I want to be with this person, I want to get back with the person, I'm not sure, but and all of this conjecture and all of this like cognitive and emotional dissonance, that the deficit is a lack of harm reduction for self, a lack of internal locus of focus, a lack of self-care, a lack of self-care in the sense that you're not caring about yourself. You're still putting everything about the person with BPD ahead of that, in the way that codependents will, in the repetition cycle of externalizing out needs. So you're still hoping that that person with BPD, that it could work out, that they'll come back, that if you got hoovered, even if you're in recovery, that maybe it could happen again, or they'll finally get it, they'll wake up somehow magically in months or whatever, and they'll come back and apologize to you, and then that would be the desire for it to start again. So the question for you today is, if any of this resonates with you in any way, or you're confused about it all, wherever you are on the journey of whether the relationship is totally over, or you're just post BPD relationship breakup, however it ended, or you've been out of the relationship for a while, you're in the recycling phase, or you've been out of the relationship for 6 months, a year, or longer, but did all these, the thoughts, the rumination, the hope, the I can't do this, I can't go no contact. Um, People with codependency unable, and this is why you need therapy to help you heal from the relationship. Or if you're still in this really confused place, I have a lot of clients that come to me in the really confused place that I'm not judging by any means, that then we can just start talking about it. We can start processing it. We can start looking at a lot of variables. And when people explore things that way, it's really important. And a lot of why people with codependency, I mean, just a big piece of it, but not the whole enchilada, so to speak, are really hurting after these relationships. There's, like I said, a plethora of reasons. But because people with codependency are still carrying the woundedness of not being seen and heard, not feeling seen and heard, and really in the sum total of the relationship with somebody with untreated BPD, not really going to get to feeling, yes, the initial idealization mirroring the BPD people pleasing phase and them telling you that you're the greatest thing since sliced bread and that feels so good, of course, that emotional voracious hunger that people with codependency have to be seen and heard. So, people get these breakups, these all these situations I've mentioned already happen, but people with codependency who aren't in therapy and who aren't trying to work out all this confusion and loss of self and the pain of everything are still being driven by, in an unconscious way, this desire to have, to just continue in your codependence, for lack of a better way to put it, that you are in habituated patterns of repetition, compulsion cycles in codependency. There's a little overlap there to BPD as well. Not saying it's the same, but there's the overlap part again. And you're not even thinking enough about the agony you're in. You're aware of that, but you're not doing anything to get yourself out of that pain and suffering. So there's the healing recovery journey, which needs to happen for people in therapy, and starting that journey. But there's also just, and in that process, and or right now, ask yourself this question: in spite of all of the hurt and the pain, the confusion and the loss of yourself, why are you still wanting them back? What is that about? What are you needing that you need to get into therapy to figure out? And secondly, that you need to learn that whatever those needs are about, primarily, except for, like, obviously one of physical intimacy, that you need to be able to meet those needs for yourself, and even the latter for a while if need be. Because if there's a BPD relationship breakup and you have codependency, and 98% of people with borderlines do have significant to severe codependency, if you just go on and think you can just get over it and go on, chances are you're going to meet the next person with BPD or maybe somebody with NPD. So, what do you think about this if it resonates with you? Are you somewhere in this? You're certainly not beyond it all. So, different territory as the way I've described it here. But what do you think? And if you want to share your experience in the comment section or where you're at or what you think about this, because people don't realize sometimes the real meaning of words. Like if you're trying to go no contact, no, you're not, because trying isn't doing. To go no contact, you have to set an intention, set a goal, and take action regardless of how you feel. And I'm not saying that's easy, it's very difficult. So, what is the hope? What is the maybe false hope? What is the on and off recycling? What is the I can't go no contact? What what is keeping so many people in harm's way? And what do you think about that? Because I'll say this much, it's definitely because people with codependency are still avoiding themselves totally, and and this is where people with codependency after the relationship breakup or the on and off or the recycling or wherever it is can really be adding to their own suffering. So I don't know what people will think of that, but it's pretty devastating for people to be in these positions And I guess what I'm just trying to say in this video is, what does that really mean for you? And why are you, not why, but do you understand the nature of how you're stuck and how that's increasing your pain, as many people just want to blame the borderline for everything. And yeah, there's probably a lot that they were responsible for that they can't own right now. But avoidance of self in codependency is so strong that people, the trauma bond reality, just because you haven't seen a borderline or had heard from them for 2 or 3 years or 6 months or 8 months or 2 months or 2 weeks, uh, the trauma bonds aren't broken. And people continue to increase their own suffering by avoiding self in codependency and still focusing on what the borderline did or didn't do or both, but still focusing on that person. Like, in so many ways, that just the language, the expressions, the I can't do this, I'm trying to do that, the I can't accept it's over, I need it back, I want them back. It's all about wanting the person that you thought they were back. And so, what's driving that for you? Because if you don't look at you, if you don't get into therapy, and again, I'll just remind people I'm out here to work with you if you resonate with me. If you're just spinning your wheels, and don't you deserve better than that? Like, are you not in enough pain? People really are, right? Why don't you let that pain motivate you to want to take care of yourself, to want to do something, take an action to start working through the pain instead of continuing to experience it and thinking that closure, the seeking of closure is still, you're not finished. You want to try again. Maybe in an unconscious way, you're not consciously aware of that. So, are you blocked? Or would you rephrase that and say, no, I'm not blocked. I just want him or her back. And what about you?